back, everybody, to another edition of Pure Picks, the best bets edition for UFC 298. Joined here by the homie Alex. How are you doing today?
James, I'm doing very well, man. Really looking forward to UFC 298. Um, really just looking to carry the momentum forward from the last card, which I did very well in. So excited.
Yeah, definitely. And Alex had some amazing plays for the last fight night between Jack Hermanson and Joe Piper. And we actually wanted to go over some of those plays before we head on to UFC 298. So let's do a little bit of a recap first. Alex will go over some of his own personal plays that he did a great job on, and then we'll break it down with Gerard and me in the other breakdown video. But Alex, I'll let you go ahead and get started. Tell us about some of the crazy good stuff that he had.
Yep. So altogether on this Bet MMA tips card, I put in four bets here. So the first one is straight pick of Marcin Prachnio at plus 193 odds for 1 unit. I was really confident with, this pick. If you look at the last full card breakdown that I did with James, if you go to the comment section, you'll see that I had picked Prachnio and I explained my reasoning. Um, the fight played out. It played out pretty much how I expected it to. I knew Prachnio was better on the feet, although I did think that Devin Clark would shoot more takedowns. He obviously didn't shoot that many, and I think it's because Prachnio really got him off balance with the stance switches. So, hats off to Prachnio. But I will say that the gas tank and cardio was a little bit concerning towards the end of round three. But I think plus 193, definitely very good value there. Second pick that I had put was Michael Johnson to win by decision. Um, Again, I think I had mentioned this in the full card breakdown. I really like the over. The over under, by the way, was at 1.5. So that was, incredible value. But I always thought that this fight was going to go to decision. So at plus 300, half unit, really good value. Michael Johnson, just a vet. Darius Flowers coming down a weight class. So I think this was, the obvious side here. Then the next is the three leg parlay. Daniel Marcos, RoboCop, and Dan Ige. Daniel Marcos, really unlucky in my opinion. He was up 2-0, and then the groin shot. So that ended up being a no contest, and so that's okay. Then we had RoboCop to win. Um, Definitely, a little bit of a sweat, I'd say early on, just because Brad Tavares, super tough guy. But RoboCop, he's a that guy's a menace, man. He can probably pass as a light heavyweight. So he got the knockout there, and then obviously we had Dan Ige at minus 175. That was very strange. I think me and James, we were both heavy on Dan Ige. He just seemed like the very obvious choice. So I'm very surprised that the odds were that narrow. Then lastly, we have another RoboCop and Balaji Oki to win. Um, so I'll talk a little bit about the Kwamba and Oki. So when I was doing the breakdown for that fight, I definitely thought that when I was watching the tape, I definitely thought that Kwamba had, skills. He looked pretty good. But I was looking for reasons to pick Kwamba to win, actually. And anytime I do that, when I'm looking for reasons to pick, a certain fighter, and I can't get to get to backing that, specific fighter, really what it tells me is that the other guy is going to win, and so this was just another case here. Oki uh, was a bigger fighter. Columba was moving up a weight class, four days notice, and so that was another dub plus 118. So altogether, a really great night betting wise, and Yeah, excited, excited.
Yeah, and I'm looking to kind of see how you carry this momentum that you got for this fight card onto UFC 298 because you did an outstanding job. So let's get to the UFC 298. The pure pickers, we're here to move forward. We're here to get you some more profit. Alex, what's going to be some of your plays? What's going to be the first kind of good play that you want to give our pure pickers here?
Yeah, so for this card, I'm gonna keep it nice and simple for best bets. I definitely do have more bets, but wanted to get these two bets out to you guys and give you guys my reasoning. So first bet is a two-leg parlay, um, and it's going to be Danny Barlow to win outright, so money line. And the other leg is the Merab versus Cejudo round prop over 2.5.
Perfect. That's plus 106 right now, so a little bit better than even odds. Let's talk about Danny Barlow. So why is he the first leg of your parlay here?
Yep. So, when I was breaking down this fight, right, I was looking at Quinlan, his last fight against Trey Waters. And so what I noticed in that fight was Quinlan had a lot of trouble getting into range against, the length and range of Trey Waters. Um, so Quinlan is now facing another opponent who has an even longer reach than Waters. And the difference between Waters and Barlow is, um, on the surface, Barlow looks to be much more wild with his strikes compared to Trey Waters. Um, if you look at Barlow, he's definitely, constantly looking for the kill shot. There's a reason his nickname is Left Hand to God. So, if I look at the line, right, I believe that this line is, shrinking for a couple of reasons. The first reason being that Danny Barlow is making his UFC debut after his first round knockout win in the Dana White Contender Series. And, I think me and James have mentioned this before. Anytime a guy is making his UFC debut, um, it's tough, like if you're a rookie, it's like anything. If it's your rookie year, you make rookie mistakes, all that stuff. You lack that experience, and so anytime a guy is making his UFC debut, you have to take that into consideration for sure. Knocking a couple points down. You know, um, and the second reason is kind of what I mentioned earlier. He can get a little bit wild through throwing heavy looping shots, and he kind of he can leave himself open for counters. And against a guy like Josh Quinlan, who does hit very hard, in my opinion, that can definitely spell trouble. And if you watch the Dana White Contender Series fight that Danny Barlow had, it's important to note that he did get wobbled by Raheem Forrest. So I believe those are probably like the two reasons why this line is somewhat close. But with that said, I'm putting Barlow as a Giga Lock parlay piece because um, contrary to what looks like very wild looping shots, I think Barlow actually manages distance very well. um, I think he has very nice movement and spatial awareness in the octagon. And he also has, just that pure physicality compared to a guy like Quinlan. And add to that, we've already seen Josh Quinlan struggle against long rangey opponents. And that's why, I think if Barlow fights a high IQ match, I believe he's the winner 9 times out of 10. So give me Danny Barlow here.
Awesome, awesome analysis right there. What about the second leg that you had, the Cejudo over 2.5 minus one, minus 300?
Yeah, so this is another leg that I really like a lot. Um, I think first, purely if we just go based off of win-loss record, like ignore the tape, um, the lion's share of both of these fighters and their wins come to decision. So Merab, he's never been knocked out. He's only been submitted once in his career, while Cejudo, he's been knocked out once in his career, and that was, to none other than Demetrius Johnson. And so, straight off the bat, one could reasonably assume that, this fight is going to go the distance at 3 rounds. Um, then if we kind of take it one step further and, break down the tape, um, neither fighter possesses that one punch power. I think, both of these fighters kind of operate mainly through, volume, and uh, yeah, just volume and kind of, putting on that pace and pressure, especially, for Merab. Um, I see almost no scenario in which he gets knocked out. How I see this fight playing out is, Merab is, going to do what Merab does. He's going to put that pace, put that pressure, shoot for like these takedowns to get the opponent off balance, and then uh, put that pressure. And so that means that, I see Cejudo fighting off of his back foot, not being able to kind of fight the game plan that he would prefer to fight the fight at. And what else? Uh, also for Cejudo, I believe that he'll be able to stuff all the takedowns that Murad throws pretty much. And what I really think is a key here is that, Cejudo likes to fight off of like that karate stance, hopping back and forth. And I think that actually serves very well for his own striking defense. Um, if we look back at Cejudo's knockout loss to Demetrius Johnson in the first fight, he wasn't fighting out of that karate stance. He got kneed hard in the clinch. And so, I think Cejudo's a little bit different now. Uh, he has a more calming presence. And so I think the over 2.5 is a pretty safe leg here, especially because I don't think Merab is going to get knocked out. I think if there is going to be a knockout, I think it's going to be Merab knocking out Cejudo. But uh, I don't think that's going to happen.
Very interesting stuff right there. So that's plus 106. What kind of unit sizing would you recommend on this two leg parlay here?
I think, just go one unit, keep
Yeah,
it standard. Um, I think, uh, you know, it's, any person's preference. If your standard unit sizing is 2 units or 3 units, then go with that. But for me personally, I'm just going to go with one unit.
sounds great, man. Let's go with the other play that you had. I believe you had a straight pick for us.
Yep. So the second play that I have is, China's own Zhang Mingyang as a Giga Lock here at minus 121 odds.
Fantastic, fantastic. Let me hear your reasoning. I'm really excited to hear this.
Yeah. So I think I think my reasoning is, kind of similar to the Danny Barlow one. I just think Zhang Mingyang is just a better fighter, in my opinion. Um, I trust Zhang to be the one moving forward, and Ribeiro fighting off of his back foot. So, both of these guys possess that one punch knockout power. However, because I think Ribeiro will be moving backwards, um, he won't have as many opportunities to kind of plant that lead foot and generate that power. Um, and I think Zhang just, if you watch both of these fighters, he looks better. He has a better style, and I personally think Ribeiro, like looking at his Dana White Contender Series fight, he looks very sloppy, in my opinion. And I see Zhang taking advantage of that. And at pretty much even odds, I think it's great value for the Zhang side. And I'm actually surprised. I looked at fight odds, and it- I think Zhang opened up as an underdog, and so I guess now he's bet to a slight favorite. So I definitely agree with uh, the sharps in this instance.
Definitely. And an interesting thing to note also for both of these fighters, in their previous fight, which were wins, Zhang rode to the UFC in Singapore, I think in 2022. He was a plus 450 underdog. And Ribeiro, in his Dana White Contender Series fight, he was a plus 575. So both of these guys were kind of big underdogs, and they both ended in the first round. So could be a pretty interesting scrap right there. Awesome. Well, I mean that sounds great to me. Do you have any other plays that you had that you just thought about maybe while we're talking?
Um, I do have other plays, but we're gonna leave that for Bet MMA tips, and I'm
Yes,
sure
sir.
you and Gerard will cover some of those Giga locks that you guys had in the full card breakdown.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Awesome. Well, we'll wrap it up here. Best of luck, everybody. And really, this fight card, I think there's going to be some really nice plays. So I think we're going to have a great week like last week.